Hey everyone, a new episode of Sailor Moon Crystal just came out yesterday actually. I couldn't make a video on the exact day because I've been feeling under the weather recently and I didn't feel like being on camera. But today I feel a little bit better, so yeah, I can't not talk about this episode. It was episode 6, Tuxedo Mask, and it was probably, if it wasn't for last week, I'd say this week, or last episode, I think this episode was amazing, probably my second favorite out of the 6. Um, it starts with the Moon Kingdom, and usually Usagi's having these flashbacks or dreams, but actually Mamoru was having them this time. So that was a cool, different thing. We got to see his side of it and what he sees and what he kind of remembers, which is really cool. And it sort of brings Usagi and Mamoru closer in our eyes as well, which is really cool. Yeah. In this episode, the Senshi were hanging out a lot in the arcade when it was super late, and I'm like, I get that's your hangout, but I'm sure it's quite illegal to be there after hours. Are there no cameras? Is Mototi okay with this? I don't understand. But that's really cool that they're together and coming up with plans and learning about each other. We learn that Luna's from the moon, which is really cool. And we learn more about their goal, and the princess is actually from the moon as well. And I'm really excited about where this series is headed, um, because this is where the 90s anime actually sort of deviated from the manga more so. Besides the random filler episodes with plot, this is where it split pretty much. We get to see Zoisite more in this episode, and it's interesting because he takes the form of a female in this episode as a legendary silver crystal specialist, and I'm like, that's sort of like a, a nod to the 90s anime where you were a female, and I'm like, that's interesting. I'm sure it's in the manga, but I just thought it was weird. I was like, is that Zoisite? Why is a female voice coming out of Zoisite? I thought we talked about this. Um, we also got to hear Sailor V talk to Usagi in a good way. We've never heard her voice yet, I don't think, besides like action noises. And Usagi is starting to maybe understand that maybe Sailor V is a little bit more than just a video game. We'll hope so. Um, we finally get to see inside the secret Luna base inside the arcade machine. That was really cool. She pressed some magical buttons, much better than any Konami code ever. And we got to see little technological things that we definitely could not touch in the 90s. Just saying. It'll be on like a huge monitor, and yeah, just wouldn't be good with floppy disks. Um, One of my favorite parts of the episode was the battle between Zoisite and the three Senshi, because Venus isn't there. Um, and I liked seeing their attacks. They didn't have to call out anything; it was just normal, and they just used it, and we got to see how it was used. Although it was super quick, didn't get a lot of time to like fully see what they were doing. We got to see Zoisite like dodge tons of things. A little recognition between Zoisite and Ami, Sailor Mercury possibly, because he was just dodging everyone's attack until Sailor Mercury's attack. Then he was shocked, just like previously Nephrite was shocked when Jupiter attacked. Another hint maybe of the four generals and the four Senshi relationship that was in slightly the manga, more so the live action. Um, or the musical, sorry, not live action. It was a little different in the live action. Everything was a little different in the live action. But changing it from the manga, we got to see Queen Beryl come and face the Senshi, which was amazing because I'm like, they never got to see Queen Beryl until like the end battle. I'm like, how do you even know who this person is? You've never seen her before. You've just heard about her. But this time they get to meet face to face, and she's got a beautiful voice. I love her voice actress, her Seiyu, so much because it's dark and evil, and I love it. I'm a huge Queen Beryl fan, so yeah. Um, the Usagi and Tuxedo Common dialogue was one of my favorites that they've ever had. It was a lot more drawn out and well spoken than the manga, which was just more random dialogue, I think. But we got to hear a lot about how they both feel, and how Usagi feels sort of powerless, because of she doesn't have the fire, the water, the lightning. She doesn't know what she has. Um, but she's been doing okay by herself before. Like, she's perfectly capable of that. She doesn't have the confidence, though, until Tuxedo Common pretty much was like, you need to go and do this. And Luna was like, Usagi. And I'm like, you're giving away the identity of Sailor Moon just by screaming Usagi. They say it like so much, but I guess that's not a big deal in this version. Um, but Tuxedo Common knows that Usagi is Sailor Moon, and that's a pretty big deal. Even though in the subtitled version, I don't quite understand it, but Usagi is like, I don't have the power to do that, and I'm the leader of the team. And I'm like, isn't that pretty obvious that you just explained that you were Sailor Moon? I don't understand that. Yeah, because Usagi was surprised that he knew. I'm like, you just said that you were the leader, and I don't know. Anyways, I love their conversation, and we got to see Sailor V in the distance with Artemis, and that's amazing. I'm so excited. um, and at the end, Usagi ends up in Tuxedo Common Mamoru's apartment, and she starts to put together who Tuxedo Common is, and the next episode's going to be awesome, and it's awesome. Another thing to mention real quick is they redid some excuse me, they redid some coloring or animation for the opening, um, which I didn't fully notice, but everyone else was going on about it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. But apparently in the Blu-ray release of Crystal, eventually, they're going to reanimate some scenes because there has been some complaints. I've complained a little bit about the animation and how lackluster it can be. Um, but I didn't want it to be reanimated, but whatever. I've seen some of the reanimation stuff that they've shown, and I wasn't a big fan. They're making Usagi's eyes more animated, which is fine. In the 90s version, she was extremely animated, and that was perfect. But I really like the way that they're doing it in Crystal because it's Naoko's artwork pretty much, and it's her decision. And once again, we're not letting her have her voice, which is an issue previously with her editors and everything. She just never gets her own way. But anyways, that was this week's episode, and it was amazing. And finally finished volume 1 of the Kodansha version of the Sailor Moon manga. Finally, all 6 chapters in volume 1. So finally we're on volume 2, so I can put away volume 1 now when I watch these episodes, because I read along with the episode after I rewatch it, because I'm weird. But anyways, I hope everyone has a great weekend, week, life. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye!